proximity as a principle of graphic design, repetition as a principle of graphic design, and simplicity as a principle of graphic design. Sir Courage, are you with us?
Yes, boss.
Okay, sir. I just want to know if you are following. All right. So you can just jot down a few things. I will not be saying much because I believe that the goal of learning is to make something simple as possible so that everybody will get the main ideas. I try in as much as possible to ensure that my lessons are very straightforward, straight to the main thing. So proximity is not something that is far-fetched. The word proximity simply means a distance. It means creating distance. But in graphic design, it can be used in a very different context. Proximity in graphic design simply means the act of shaping or grouping objects in graphic design. It is the act of shaping or grouping objects in graphic design. So you see that simple act of trying to group elements in graphic design. We do it often. That particular act is you trying to create proximity. And sometimes it can be you trying to create a form of shaping of an object, trying to shape in a particular object to fit into a particular space. That's proximity for you. So proximity is you trying to balance space, is you trying to work with space. You get? So there are some basic uses of proximity. There are a lot of other uses of proximity, but I will be giving you the two basic uses of proximity in graphic design. Number one, it is to create connection. And number two, it is to dispel connection. So it is an antagonistic way of talking about the uses of proximity. To create connection and also to dispel connection. So from that, you already know what it means. To create connection means when you are grouping, you are creating connection. And when you are grouping, you are also creating a linkage between some ideas and between some elements in graphic design. Also, when you undo that particular action of you trying to create unity or trying to create connection between objects in graphic design, you are dispelling that particular connection. And sometimes you can use it creatively to send a message in graphic design. So the idea of graphic design is you trying to create, is you trying to be creative, is you trying to pass an information in a creative way. That's just the idea. So you making use of proximity in either to connect or to display is a function of effective designing. And there's a rule in graphic design that similar objects should be grouped together. Why dissimilar objects should not be grouped together? Put that at the back of your mind. And one thing you should know that spacing, like I said, is a form of proximity. Spacing is a form of proximity. Proximity gives meaning to a design. Now let's imagine that you made a design, and for example, it's the design for a school admission program. Now you put admission into JSS3. The JSS3 is above admission, so you now be JSS3 admission into school. So it is not organized. But when you arrange each and every one of them in the cadre of their relevance, in the cadre of their proximity, with relevance to space, then that particular design is performing what we call function. I know I taught you guys that function is also a principle of graphic design. The overall idea of you creating a particular design is the function. That is the goal at which you are creating a particular design. So that's just all you need to know about proximity. That's just all you need to know about proximity. Then repetition in graphic design is something that is very, very, very paramount. Are you together? Are we together? Hello? Are we together?
Yes, we're together. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
repetition is not actually a graphic design principle. It is a branding principle. So I have actually chipped in a very core point in branding into graphic design, because graphic design and branding, they are like an ivy that is tied around a tree. They are like brothers and sisters. They move together. It is very easy for a graphic designer to switch into branding, but it is very, very difficult from a brand designer to switch into graphics. But it is very easy for a graphic designer to switch into branding. So you should know the connectivity, the alliance between the two of them. Repetition simply means the reuse of a particular element over time. It can mean symbol, it can mean shape, text, typography, or contrast, using it frequently so as to create an impression in the minds of your clients. This boils down majorly to logo creation. It boils down majorly to logo creation. You see, for example, you see MTN, they have yellow color as their brand color. Now, before you were able to have that identity of the relativity of MTN's brand to yellow color is because of the reuse over time. They try to create a perception in the minds of their clients or their prospective customers. They try to create that impression. Why or how? They did that by continuously making use of the elements, which is that color. Color, you know, color is an element. They continuously make use of that element, which is yellow, over time. And what we are trying to do is to create an impression in the minds of their listeners or in the minds of their customers over time. So that's one of the important feature or instrumentality of branding, which is repetition. We also use it in graphic design when creating a brand. For example, you can increase a set of pattern over time just to relate that ideology in the minds of your clients. That's for repetition. So repetition is used to create pattern. There's what we call pattern in graphics. Most especially when you are branding for a business. When you are branding for a business, you will see that pattern of, for example, let me say Gucci bag. You see that the material that was used to sew the Gucci bag, that is the leather, has this imprint, this continuous repetition of the Gucci logo. Are you with me? Hello, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. You can see this continuous repetition of the Gucci logo. That is actually the work of a designer, trying to create impression by continuously making use of that particular element over time. So it can be used to create unity and consistency. It can be used to create emphasis. It can be used to strengthen your decision. It can be used to create some bit of cohesiveness. It can be used to create style. And it can be used to create strategy. It can be used to create strategy. You understand? Then the ultimate aim of repetition is to create familiarity and also to create impression. That's the ultimate goal, to create that familiarity and connection. Like I said before, it is an extensive tool that is used in branding. It is used to create this feeling of noticeability and memory through look and feel. Then the very last principle I'll be talking about is the principle of simplicity. I decided to bring this last because this is where many people fail as a graphic designer. One of the biggest mistakes that many people try to do in graphic is that they try to make their design, how will I say it now? They try to put everything in one design. There's a particular adage that simplicity is complex and complexity is not simple. Simplicity is complex, but complexity is not simple. So just put that at the back of your mind. It's a very
The
important
mechanism of action is unknown.
Exactly. So it's a very important thing that you need to know in graphics. So I would encourage you, like I do tell some of my students, I will encourage you that the goal of you designing is not to make it fine. And in the same vein, in the course of the design, I will color grade the particular picture to blend into a background. If you don't have these two, I would advise you get them. I would advise you get these two, which is Lightroom. Lightroom, the extension of smartphone, you can get it. I'm going to click on it. You see it? That one that I'm clicking on. That's Lightroom.
Boss, this are you recording this video?
Yes, I'm
That
recording it.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this Lightroom, like I said before, that's it. Then, so let me just open our application, our normal application on PZ Lab. Okay. So I have a lot of stuff opened, and so I may just decide to end this project. Let me just end this project. So this was the design I was doing before. Now I have explained several ways of creating background to us, several methods. So which method will I employ now? Okay, let me employ this method. I'm going to import a picture. Now I'll be talking about color grading. In the same vein, I'll be talking about repetition and balance. Okay, good. I want to import this particular picture into it. When I import this particular picture, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide the layer, then create a background. I'll go to the background option, move over to color, then create a gradient. I'll give it a side view gradient. Then I'll pick a color from this particular design. I'll pick the dark part. Then I'll move to the other anchor point. Then I'll pick a lighter shade of the color. I will drag this one to the side a little bit. So I've created a background. Okay. Now, I actually talked about proximity. Grid lines can help me to create proximity also in graphic design. They can help me to create proximity. So I'll be making use of a particular picture. For this design. Let me just move over to my PNGs. Okay. I have a few PNG here. So I'll be making use of the PNG of a food. You understand? Food PNG. Okay, I just decide to make use of this for this. Now, when you check this particular picture on this background, you see that it is really obvious. It is really obvious. It is not blending with the background. You get? It's not blending with the background. So we can just zoom in, zoom out to check out. And it's a problem that we have to fix. So what I'm going to do is that this particular picture, I'm going to move it over to, okay, I'll just leave this picture like this. Then I can create, okay, let me don't use this one. I don't want to use this one. Let me use another one. You can decide to make use of any picture you want to. Okay. Okay, which one am I going to use now? Okay, let me use this one, this chicken one. Okay, I think this is okay. Let me use this. All right. So now I would go to my shape option, create a shape. create a shape and I'll slant it a little bit and drag it down. All right. Then I'll move this food to the upper layer, then pull this down. So the plate is resting on a slant edge. Then I would create a repetition. I'm going to create a repetition. But before I do that, let me write something. I'm going to write the word feed. I'm going to write the word feed. Okay. Are you guys still with me?
Yes, I still there.
Okay. So I'm
At
going
the
to
dark,
write.
at the dark of the night, you are using chicken for tutorial. This is not fair.
It's fair. Oh. I don't, billions now. If he gets the chicken now. Courage, are you still
Even that,
there?
even that go take the fine body. You don't see wetin dey happen for this country.
No, now even if the country hard, you not reach where you dey.
That man said billionaire.
Oh, billionaire.
Abeg, watch your video. Watch your video. I don't know wetin you dey talk.
All right, let me continue. Okay. So I'll make use of this particular. I have a lot of fonts that I can choose from. Let me make use of benzene. Oh, Modeno. No. Okay, let me use pneumatic. Let me use pneumatic. Oh no. Let me use Druk. Okay. Now, there's this particular trick that I'm going to teach you. Whenever you are making use of a slant text, you should rotate it anti-clockwise by 2 or 3. 1, 2. You understand? So that will give me the flow that I want. So I can decide to increase the text. Now, what I'm trying to do at the same time, I'm trying to create balance. I'm trying to create balance in this design. So I can decide to copy this and write feed well. I'm going to make use of a script font. So I will not start it with small letter. Remember that principle I told you guys before, feed well. So what I'm going to do is that I'll give this a script font, which is, I know the font, I like one particular script font, which is Gustavo. So you start learning fonts too. You get, increase the size and place it like this. Okay, feed well. Now, remember, I'm teaching you on proximity, simplicity, and repetition. I'm going to do all that, but I've already done proximity for you, but you don't know. You see the spacing I'm trying to get between the well and the feed is proximity. I'm keeping proximity between them. I don't know if you are getting me. I'm keeping proximity between them. And you see the two lines.
No. Sorry. Like, come again. I don't get them.
Okay. Now, you see the feed and the well. I can decide to leave it like this. If I remove the grid lines, what will you notice about this design? Is not balanced because there is too much proximity between the feed and the well.
There's too much space.
You get, there's too much space in between the feed and the well. So in order to cover for the gap of that proximity, I have to adjust this one to overlap. And now it is balanced. I don't know if you get.
Okay. I understand.
Yes.
I don't know if you get.
Yes, we get.
And now it is balanced like this. Good. So to continue, I want to do something.
I have a question.
I want to do something. Now, assuming this feed is the logo of the brand, or is a particular word that I want to repeat, I can do something like this. Watch me. Just watch me closely. I'll go to the feed and I will duplicate it. I'm no longer concerned about any other thing. You see this particular feed that I just choose. I'm going to unselect it. Go to my benzene ring layer. I'll click a cycle. Then I'll reduce this size to a scalable scale. Then move it very small. I'll move it to where I have the feed. I'm going to unclick it. I'll lock this two layer. I'll click this down part that I'm touching. This is down part. You can see it. I'll click it. Then I'll click the feed, the cycle and the feed I just did. Sorry, before I do that, let me go back. So this feed, I'm going to unlock it. This feed, I'm going to give it a stroke. I'll give it a black stroke. You get? So I'll increase the stroke width to like 6. I'll leave it. Then now I'll continue with what I was doing before. Group. You see that merge layer? That's where I pressed. So I'm going to merge the group together. Then I press OK. Then I'll move over to the benzene ring. I'll click erase color. It's going to erase the white. Then I'll increase the tolerance. See, I have only the outline. Now I've created the outline of this particular feed. Hope you see it. Then I'll give it a color, maybe red, and leave it like this.
Sorry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
The last thing you merged with it at the bottom, I didn't see it. Is it the background?
You not see it?
Like the last thing you merged on the bottom, was it the background? I didn't see it.
No. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back.
Like, okay.
Okay,
I
from
was not
here,
seeing it actually for my screen. Like, you merged something. You merged TV things together.
yes.
I didn't see the last one on the bottom. What was that
No, it's
actually?
not
Is it
3
background?
things. It's just 2 things.
It's two
You know,
things.
I told you to create a scalable cycle.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So that
You
cycle and the feed.
reduce the circle.
Yes. So this is it. I'm going back again.
Okay.
I'm going back. Okay. Now I've not merged it here. Sure, you can see.
Yes, I'm seeing the circle.
Okay, good. I'm going to lock this feed layer too. You
Uh-huh.
get? I'll click this equals to sign. I'll click the 2 things that I want to merge.
Yeah.
Then you see this bottom part that I'm scaling now. I'm cycling it.
Okay. To
Yes.
merge. That's
Yes,
the name
that's
too.
yes. It's also in Photoshop, you know. This tool,
Yeah,
this sign
do
is in Photoshop. So the sign should tell you what they are used for. So you merge it.
yeah.
Okay. It's going to merge it.
Okay. I've seen
So,
it.
but now it's like the outline. I did not put the outline. Oh, let me quickly put the outline.
That's the
The
stroke.
stroke.
Let me put the outline.
Oh,
So let me
I
just
don't know if
quickly add.
what was that circle for actually? Can't it work without the circle?
It can't work because you are actually trying to.
Okay, you needed to merge something together.
Yes, it's like I'm actually trying to convert the text into a smart object
into an
in Photoshop.
into an image. Okay, yeah.
Yes, into a smart object like in Photoshop.
Yeah, I've gotten it.
You get ahead. So we'll leave it as C. You see, like I said before, you can use Pixel Lab to do anything, but some people don't really know about the tricks. It's
Yeah, the
just brainwork.
manipulations.
The manipulation. This Pixel Lab is a very powerful application, very powerful. And even the developer was still alive. Therefore, those don't do evil.
If you modify them, modifications.
They play. I only modify. But we'll go run app, we'll go create our own app. Yes. So scale it. But don't always put it at 70. If you put it at 70 most time, the pieces will be too much. So change the color to, let me see, white. Then now you rotate it 1, 2, -2. Now if I decide to do it like this now, just watch. This is the design already.
Yeah,
This is the
actually.
design already. Yes, off balance, but this is not what I have in mind. I'm actually going to use this to create repetition. So I'm going to position this like this. I'll copy and paste this like this. Okay, wait. Okay, delete. Let me reduce the size. Copy and place this like this. Shift this to this side. Okay, then I'll come here. I'll merge these two layers together.
I'll replicate it.
You understand? And duplicate it.
Yeah.
Duplicate it. Duplicate it again. Duplicate it again. Duplicate it again. Duplicate it. Okay. Then I'll merge all the duplicated layer. All right. Then I'll drag this down. And then I'll do something. I'll reduce the opacity. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So this actually the use of repetition in graphics. It helps to create balance. It helps to create pattern. It helps to create unity and consistency. When a particular person look at this background now, I don't need to tell them too much that the brand is the one responsible for this particular food. I don't know if you are getting my point.
Yes.
Then it adds strength to a design. It adds style and creativity to the design as well. So to continue from where I stop, now I've talked about repetition, I've talked about proximity. Simplicity is my thing. I can leave the design like this now. It's this simple and okay. I don't need to add too much. You understand? I don't need to add too much to make this design fine. This design is okay. But the moment I start adding too many things, some people will add this, they will add that, they will add this, then that design will begin to lose its purpose. And when it loses its purpose, the client will not appreciate it. So I can just decide to do something. Remember, I'm working with color principles, so I've made use of just one color in this design, and that's red, the gradient of red. White, according to graphics, is not a color. White is
So you don't consider white along with it?
Yeah?
You don't consider white?
No, white is not a color. In graphics, white is not a color. So I did not say that. That's the importance of extended lesson. Those that were not around now, they will not know this. White is not a color. In graphic design, white is referred to as. Yes.
I usually include white as the color when okay, that's nice. Thank you.
Yes, in
How about
graphic
black?
design,
But black is a color.
Black is not a color too. Black is not a color. In graphic, yes. But in other contemporary form, you can group them. But in graphics, black is not a color. White is not. We refer to them as positive and negative space.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
White is white is positive space. You can use them for both. You know why? Because spacing, white and black, they are colors that can lighten or brighten, darken or brighten other colors. We refer to them as neutral colors. You understand? So they are not actually color, they are pseudo colors. Let me just put it that way.
Thank you.
All right, sir. So I'll click on this well. Then I want to do something. I'll go to my test. I'll go to texture. You already know about this one now. So move over to gallery. Check my gallery first. Okay, no. Okay, going to make use of this. Then I'll move it. So that's it. So I've introduced another color to this particular design, a texture. So I've made use of texture in this particular design. I don't know, you are following up, Abi? You are seeing the way I'm using it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the design, the beauty is coming out already. I did not look. I don't know. I did not even plan to do this design. No. I did not plan to do this. I'm just doing it based on inspiration. So I'll add shadow. This shadow, I'll reduce the opacity. I'll increase the blur a little bit. Then I'll take the offset a little bit up. Okay. I'll bring it out a little bit. Yes, that's it. So the design is balanced and okay. So I can decide to leave this design like this. It is simple. You get. So let me just add something. My PNG. Okay. I decide to put this here. You know, this space at this point, it is actually giving the design one wrong vibe. So this space like this, you know. So I want to use something to cover it up now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change this thing to a color. Then I'll give it the same color of the background and give it a stroke, white stroke. I'll just leave it like this. Finish. Then what I'm going to write here, I'll write 50% off. Move to my text. I have a particular text in mind, which is benzene. I like this text where we're mononovers. So I'll reduce it. I'll change the alignment. Now I'm making use of alignment to central alignment. Now, which type of alignment am I using for this design now?
It's central now.
Central alignment. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm making use of central alignment because all the design elements, they are constricted to the center. Yes.
Yeah.
So the design don't find small, Abi, because that space that was there before was actually giving it a wrong vibes. So to add something more to this design, I can decide to go to my gallery again. Try to go to my gallery, go to my PNGs. Let me find something. There's something I used to have. Okay. Let me see if it's still here.
Tell me that. You're going to it. She finished it too.
Okay, I'm coming. Let me just add this one. I'll just increase the size. Okay.
Actually, I knew that you were looking for something like this. Like I just guessed.
Yes. Yes. So I just clean up for this part like this. Clean them off. Okay. And I'll leave it. Okay. Let me stay clean. Okay. I'll just leave it like this. I'll just leave it like this. So this base is not balancing, is not lapping this base of the plate. So I'm going to do a cycle. I'm going to scale the cycle like this. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a gradient. I'll give it a center gradient. Make the center black. Then the edge black too, and reduce the scalability. Okay. Reduce the transparency and press OK. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add shadow. I'll increase the blur radius. I'll move it to one side. I'll move it to one side, the offset. Then I'll take this one down, the offset. Okay. Then I'll go to opacity and reduce the opacity. And then I'll take this down to where the food is. Then I'll try to align it. Sorry. Let me lock that layer of the food. Okay. Then I'll try to balance it. Understand? Try to balance it. Then I'll reduce the opacity also. Reduce the opacity a little bit. Okay. So this is this now. Let me lock this layer. This layer is disturbing me. Then I'll go back to it. I'll go back to my opacity where I added the shadow. The shadow is disturbing it too. Okay, this is where I added the shadow. I'll reduce the opacity of the shadow here by moving here. Understand? So you see that it has reduced.
It's too dark, right?
Yeah, it was too dark. So you can see that it has reduced now. So it's actually okay like this now. It's actually okay. So what I'm going to do is that I will duplicate this one and put it at and drag it to this part a little bit so that some of it will be attached to the plate, will be casted on the plate too. So what I'm going to do like this now is that I'm going to extend the length and drag it to this side, then raise it up. Then I'll reduce the opacity even more. I'll move over to the shadow. Come over here, then reduce the opacity even more. Then boom, the design is set. So I'll finish the design. You get? So this is me making use of the principles of simplicity, proximity,